Hey everybody. So we're getting into the next sort of stage of really what we're of our time together in terms of really thinking about how a business is formed, right, and how a small business in particular is formed as an entrepreneur, right. And so what I want to do is there's sort of two distinct things happening that I want to talk about and that we're going to really kind of focus on a little bit. Normally when somebody is thinking about going out on their own, right? They say to themselves, I have a great idea for a business, right? And really, what they should be saying is do I have a great idea for a business, right? So they've been thinking about something. They think that other people would think that it's a good idea, but they really don't know that yet, right? So the processes that we're going to be talking about, frankly, throughout the rest of the course, basically, kind of help us kind of look through that. And really, so we're talking about the search, right? The early stage efforts is the search, right? And that's really what the focus of this course is about. Okay. So, when you think about that idea, then, so there's again the two things that are happening, right? Is you're talking about things from a business model perspective, and you're talking about things from a product design perspective. Okay. And oftentimes, people start with, they have this great idea for a product or a service, right? And they spend a lot of time thinking about what that might look like and add a whole bunch of, thinking to, oh my gosh, if I did this, then I want to make sure that it has this, and all that sort of thing. And in reality, that's all good and fine, is that because you have to have that idea, that initial thought, right? But really what you need to be doing is saying, with this idea, is there a business here, right? And so really at some level what you need to do is start, even if it's an idea, kernel of an idea on the product side, it needs to move over to the business side to say, is this really viable? Is this something that people want, desire, and so on, that I can make money on, and all that sort of thing? So really, that first part, so we're really talking about a business model, right? And then we're talking about a product. Okay, so there are two different things really at play here. Okay, and so and what you really want to do in terms of where you kind of want to start, even though you kind of have the idea for the product, right? What you're really going to do is to start with the business model. Okay, in terms of like fleshing out what you think a business might look like that would support that product, right? And so there's are there enough customers? How would I make some money? You start thinking about those items, and so you start by just like making a bunch of hypotheses about that business model. Okay. So asking questions about those different types of things. And then along the way, you start also thinking about more about tailoring the products or products that you're looking to provide to go hand in hand with that business model. Okay. And so what ends up happening is that on that product design side, what we're going to do is talk about an iterative design process, and that's really what that circular focus is, right? And then the business model is the same thing. You're gonna kind of come up with some hypotheses, but really they're just wild guesses at this point, right? So what you need to do is to run a process, again, sort of a circular process that continues to help you refine your thinking regarding what a viable business model might look like. Okay, so those are the two things that are happening. So you start sort of like, even if you have the product sort of in mind, right, you actually then take that idea and you really need to start over on the business model side and say, okay, now, like, if this is the case, what do I need to know about in developing a business model, and then how those products might fit in, okay? So the two process, the two ideas, ways of proceeding that we're going to discuss and get into really is using what's called the business model canvas. Okay, so we're basically going to talk about tools that you can use to engage in these processes, the business model and the product design components. So the business model canvas is where you get a kind of start. You basically pull this business model canvas up and you start filling in the various boxes there with some ideas, okay, and some of your first hypotheses about what a business model might look like that would support your business, okay. So and what you'll notice here on this canvas is there really isn't, the word product doesn't appear anywhere on the canvas, okay? So really it talks about customers, it talks about the different segments of your customers, the relationships that you would want to or need to have with your customers, and most importantly, the value proposition, the problem that you're going to solve for them, or the thing you're going to provide them that they want, right? So these items really relate then back to the product that you have in mind, right? And then after you've started doing those pieces, then you talk about the revenue stream, you talk about cost structures, partners, all that sort of thing. When you first kind of develop your business model, you have stuff in each of those boxes, but we're only going to focus on these ones over here for this course to make it, sort of like the very first step components, okay? So, and the reason you start with the business model canvas is it forces you to really think about the people, the customers that you would be, because if you don't have customers, you don't have a business, right? And so going back then to this item, right, is that we're really talking about this process of a business model leading through a process of developing a business model and using the business model canvas is a process of customer discovery, right? So again, you have some thinking about what you think your customers might want in terms of a product, right? You start defining some of those things in your business model, and then what you do through a process, a search, a process of customer discovery, is you work to define a product market fit, right? And product market fit is basically saying, I've been working on this business model. I've been working in an iterative process, and the one that we're going to be using on the product design side is called design thinking, okay? And it's another process that we'll get into to kind of just help you sort of define again organically how to come up with a product that would serve the needs of your customers, right? So the idea you have right at the beginning in terms of a product, it might not be anything people want, right? Or the number of people that would want it is so small that you really can't make a business out of it, right? So what you're really trying to do is just define that the features that of your product, the values of your product that you want to highlight that make then a product market fit. So my products now fit with what the customer's desires are, right? Enough customers' desires are to where I can make money, right? So that's sort of the two pieces at play, the things we're going to be talking about kind of moving forward, the things you're going to be seeing moving forward, and then ultimately the things we're going to be practicing, okay? So that's really the fun of the course, is the practice at the end, okay? Thanks.